Hello, everybody. I just wanted to talk to you guys today. Um, it's been quite a while since I made a video. I've been really busy with work, so I apologize for that. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to discuss today, I'm only going to take a few minutes here, because the news media outlets have been putting out a lot of information in regards to the impeachment and how the Senate has voted essentially down to not call any witnesses or any further witnesses. Anyway, um, the accusations coming out from from mainstream media, and especially a lot of these left-wing social sites and personalities, are saying that this was a complete partisan hack job and that the impeachment wasn't given a fair shake. Um, I need people to understand that impeachment is actually a legal process, and by meaning a legal process that it is essentially a trial, and all the rules that apply to any kind of court hearing are applied to the impeachment hearing, especially one called the burden of proof. So the burden of proof is not beholden on the defendant. We are all presumed innocent until proven guilty. The Democrats in the House failed to meet the burden of proof, even after 3 days of saying the same thing at least 500 times by Adam Schiff. All it was needed by Trump's lawyers was 2 hours. 2 hours to meet all the points that Adam Schiff put out in 3 days. If that gives you any kind of idea of the monotony and absolute ridiculousness of the first couple of days of the impeachment trial. Adam Schiff repeated himself over and over again on the same points, and even those points weren't even considered high crimes. Contempt of Congress, there is no such thing. So what people aren't understanding is that subpoenas by Congress aren't really necessarily legal subpoenas. The process for impeachment was completely outside of protocol on what had happened. Actually, the House called for impeachment way too early. So for a normal impeachment, say for the impeachment of Bill Clinton, the House was able to secure subpoenas, and unfortunately, President Clinton at the time, he refused those subpoenas from Congress. Okay, so the next process, instead of going straight into the impeachment side, would have been to petition the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would then put out an order, a subpoena, for the president to comply. The president would have had to have complied with the Supreme Court in order to, in order to meet the legal obligation. When President Clinton was subpoenaed by or petitioned by the court to produce the evidence, he still flat out refused. That was contempt of court, which is actually a legal crime in the U.S. codes. So just the contempt of Congress was not sufficient enough. Then they tried saying that he was withholding funds from the Ukraine, that it wasn't within his jurisdiction to. It's actually one of the presidential obligations to be able to weed out corruption. We just can't send money willy-nilly to people with absent of regard. Burisma was a very corrupt is a very corrupt energy company that operates out of the Ukraine. Hunter Biden himself was a sitting board member, and what I would suspect is the reasoning why he was hired for this particular position, even though that he has no background in the energy company business. I suspect he was utilized as leverage for regional competition or regional problems that could come up. And if anybody was to try and push on Burisma for any reason, being competition coming in, or if there was any, like, say, what happened actually when a prosecutor from the Ukraine was trying to uncover corruption, especially within the Burisma Corporation, all the company would have to do is inquire to Hunter Biden about the about a prosecutor, about some legal action coming in. All Hunter would have had to have done is petition his father to muscle. Now that is outright corruption, not just Ukrainian but American corruption. It's really kind of a black eye on us. So, and that's what President Trump was actually asking for, was, hey, I need you to look into this Burisma stuff, because even during the President Obama's administration, they were actually investigating conflict of interest involving the Biden's connection to the Burisma Corporation. So Trump was actually obligated by his position in office to be able to withhold funds. Even the Ukraine didn't even notice that the funds weren't there months after the funds had been withheld. So he couldn't have been charged with high crimes. All of the witnesses' testimonies that they had is going from the whistleblower to the other individuals that were saying that they overheard Trump saying something from another person over here, or somebody had overheard Trump, and that they were not an actual witness to the phone conversations. Adam Schiff has proven in video, actually, they played the video where it flat out showed Adam Schiff is lying. So when you have the people proposing that the impeachment go through being actually on tape, on recording, showing themselves as liars, when you don't have any flat out first person evidence in regards towards anything that the president said, they were even trying to go after him for firing an ambassador, which is actually within the president's right. In the military, take for instance, in the military, you could not speak poorly about the president. You are an employee of the government. You are not allowed to speak poorly about a sitting president or any sitting member of the government. I believe it's the same case as working for the federal government, especially as an ambassador. And when you are the voice of America to a foreign government, you kind of give up your rights to freely speak ill about the president. So it was within the president's right to be able to fire the ambassador to Ukraine. Honestly, if you were to even look at it from a normal job perspective, if you talk shit about your boss while you're at work, don't expect not to get fired. But the whole impeachment was a sham. And I'm just trying to be able to let you know that the House had skipped some critical steps in here. In skipping those critical steps, they weren't able to gather anything as far as hard, concrete evidence against the president. So the vote was not because it was a partisan, hack job where it's like, oh, just a bunch of Republicans said, we don't need any more witnesses. The witnesses that the Democrats had planned to call were going to say the same things that Adam Schiff had said over and over and over and over again. There was not going to be any first-hand information. There was not going to be any hard, concrete evidence. It was just going to be another batch of hearsay. And even then, they failed to meet the burden of proof, because they were going to be saying the same stuff over and over and over again. They failed to meet the burden of proof. It's not on the person being accused to say, hey, I'm going to prove my innocence. It's the burden on the prosecution to bring forth evidence that says that this person is guilty. that is where that's where how burden of proof works. So I hope you guys have a great day. I might be on with a couple of videos a little bit later. I might do some fun format or some other type of shit. But y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you later.